In this Elden Ring Beginner's Guide in 2025, I'm looking at the game at the current build of 1.16 at the start of 2025. It is indeed the 8th of January. So my channel for Elden Ring has quite a few videos on it already, and I've done some videos for beginners, but not a beginner's guide. So we're going to look right from the start here because people are still coming to the game brand new and may not know what to even look for, but they do look for a beginner's guide, hence the video. So if you're brand new, what I suggest you do, first of all, is go to the system here, have a little look at all the different controls things here that you've got. You can turn on tutorials, you can have the HUD and whether you want to have blood on or off and, master volume. The music might drive you nuts. If it does, you can turn it off there. And you've got various different things, but the important one I would suggest is this launch setting. So you can play online or offline. If you play offline, you will have less messages in your face. There's all sorts of little messages people leave and little kind of like ghosts that you will see around areas, and they get quite annoying. So I would play offline, come back to it. If you want to turn it on later, that's fine. You can always switch between the two. This is your controls area, so you can see all your different buttons and stuff here. And Elden Ring sort of managing of all of these different things is quite complicated, so you want to be visiting this quite a bit until you feel comfortable with all of the controls. You can see that I am on the Xbox here. The controls are going to be similar on the PlayStation. PC, if you're not using a controller, will have lots of buttons. Personally, I think the game works better with a controller, but that's just my personal preference. So we'll come back out here, back to here, and then the first thing you're going to do is go new game. Okay, now there is one level of difficulty with Elden Ring. You don't change difficulty level, but it does confuse you because to begin with you need to select a character base, and there is the vagabond, the warrior, the hero, the bandit, the astrologer, the prophet, the samurai, the prisoner, the confessor, and the wretch. The wretch looks fearsome in their pants. So you're like, what? Why is this someone with pants? What is this all about? So the idea here is there are many different ways that you can play Elden Ring. You can either get incredibly technical with it if you wish, or you can just sort of keep leveling up and bashing things with any style of combat that you so wish. But you can combat with melee, or you can go magic, and there's two types of magic. You can also go ranged with archery if you wish, and there are these sort of more blunt weapons, let's say, or more exquisite weapons. So you could run around with, say, a katana with a samurai, or you could go around as a warrior with a big old sword there, or maybe a bit of a mix. Now, a better hint to what each of these character bases does is if you click Y down the bottom left-hand side, it will show you the attributes. And attributes are key in Elden Ring for developing a character that suits the play style that you are interested in. So a quick flick through these. The first thing is level. The higher the level, the more attribute points that you've got for all of those attributes thereafter. So you'll see these vary slightly, level 8, level 7, level 5, level 6, right the way to the wretch, which I think is level 1. Yes, so you start with all the even settings. And they also vary not only with the distribution of these attributes, but also with their starting weaponry and armor as well. So the Vagabond is a good sort of all-rounder for melee, and you can see we've got decent endurance, decent strength, decent dexterity, so they can wield various different weapons. They're not very good at magic, though. They've only got faith of 9, intelligence of 9, but you could soon level them up to do magic if you so wish. And this is a key point about Elden Ring. You're not stuck with this play style when you start. What you can't do is you cannot respec later to lower than these starting stats, though. So if you're a more advanced user, there is an argument for going for one that suits your play style more, because you can't go and readjust these later below these settings. So the Vagabond is a popular choice for beginners. You see you start with a sword. There's a big old halberd there, so you can do damage at a bit more of a range. You've got a shield. You've got good starting armor. And if we look at the split of stuffs, vigor is how much health you have, so you can get more damage at you. You've got the good armor to protect you as well. Mind is for your FP, and this is the focus points basically, so you'll have skills on your weapons that you can fire out occasionally, and that will drain that bar. FP is also used for magic users, so when they use spells, that bar also drops. Endurance is how heavy armor you can take and how much stamina you have. So when you're swishing weapons around, you will drain stamina, and there's a big green bar for that. And the more endurance you have, the better that is. And endurance also governs how much armor you can carry, or your carry weight. You want to be having that pretty high if you want to wear good armor. And if you have lighter armor, as long as the amount of weight of your armor isn't too bad, you'll be able to roll fast. We'll talk about that in a bit. Strength is basically used for, funny enough, brute force. So big weapons, colossal great swords and stuff like that. You're going to be able to wield those better if you've got high strength, and lots of weapons need certain stats or certain attributes in order to be able to use them, which we'll talk about. Intelligence is the primary factor for sorcerers in the game, or sorcery spells. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Faith is for incantation magic, and then arcane boosts discovery, and also is used for some spell casting, so those attributes can be useful for that. I think I've covered them mostly there. So Vagabond we talked about. The warrior is more geared towards, funny enough, just classic melee. So they can use a variety of different weapons. You can see they've got high dexterity, lower strength though, so the warrior is looking at more exquisite weapons, dual wielding weapons, and looking a bit flash with stuff. So they are quite a nice build for working with dexterity, which is basically used for these more exquisite weapons, things like samurai swords and more cool looking weapons. You've got the hero, which is the classic strong character, strength of 16 there. You can see you start with a big old axe, so you're going to be decimating heavily armored enemies with a warrior. Interestingly, though, they don't really care so much about their armor. It's quite light armor, as you can see there, because they're wielding this hoof and big weapon and just want to dish out as much damage as possible. The armor you can vary as you go through the game, though. You're not stuck with this armor. Now, the bandit is all about stealth, and stealth is one option in Elden Ring. You can sneak around, you can backstab people, you can also do damage at range with things like bows, so that's all possible. The bandit can also use things like poison to poison enemies, so they are quite a cool little character there as well. But that said, not so many people seem to play as the bandit, so it's an option, but depends on whether you like that style of play or not. Now we come to the magic classes. So we've got the astrologer, who is a sorcerer. So they excel in sorcery magic, and you can see they've got high intelligence rating, lower faith, a little bit of arcane, good strong mind, because that's the one that governs that FP bar. And you can see that they have, I forgot to talk about the weapons here. They've got a staff, which is required to cast magic. I can't remember if that's a sword or a dagger just below. You can't tell from there, a little shield there. Then you've got the prophet, who's the other way around for magic. So the second type of magic, incantation, which is my personal favorite type of magic because it's loads of cool fire spells in there. If you like blue light effects, then the astrologer is a cool one to have. And then you have kind of slightly different builds. The samurai excels with a bit of dexterity, a bit of strength. So they're, again, a possible class, but I would say maybe slightly gearing towards ranged work with the bow, but also the katana is pretty cool. But yeah, quite an interesting build there. They have cool starting armor, as you can see. And then we come to these hybrid characters. So the prisoner is a mix of intelligence and dexterity, a little bit of strength there as well. So they're a bit of a mix of classic sorcery magic with a bit of melee as well. So that can be quite interesting. My downside with the prisoner is I hate that helmet that they've got on. I think that looks horrible, as does this starting armor, which just looks like, I don't know, some potato sacks or something. So that puts me off of those. Cooler hybrid class, in my opinion, is the Confessor. That just looks like they're going to do some serious damage, like you see here. So you start with a hefty broadsword, a good shield, a sacred seal, which is used for incantation magic. And you can see that they are higher on the faith, but not as high as the dedicated ones. So 16 faith on the prophet there, but 14 faith on the confessor. And lastly, if you're not sure which way you're going to develop, and I know this is hidden between or behind me, but the build of the wretch is all level 10 on the stats. Everything is there, and they start at level 1. You only are armed with a club when you start out. No armor, just your pants. So that's a hard starting class to begin with, but you can soon get yourself some armor if you play as the wretch. So as a beginner, what would I suggest you go for? Well, a lot of people would say focus with melee. You can do a lot of damage. So a lot of people will start with that Vagabond. My personal favorite, though, is the Confessor because I love that prophet. Sorry, not that prophet, that incantation magic. And I also like doing a bit of melee damage as well. And that's a good sort of hybrid class. So up to you which one you go for. I'd love to know in the comments which one you do pick if you are following this beginner's guide. So you pick your selection here. I'll go with a Confessor just so you can see that. You've got body type A or body type B, which is male or female, so whatever one you like the look of. So we'll go with type A. You can then enter in a name here and call yourself whatever just for speed. I'm just going to go GM there. The age you can pick, young, medium, whatever. So we'll go mature. I'm sort of mature, just with an im in front of it. And then you've got keepsake. You don't have to have one, but this is a slight bonus you can have. So this adds one. I suggest you do add one. I don't think there's any downside to having one. So you can increase your maximum HP with this medallion. You can have, what's this? Gain many runes. You can have a golden seed to help increase your flask healing. This one is some spirit ashes. I don't think you can use them straight away, but they can help you fight enemies. Crackpot I wouldn't bother with. Stone Sword Key can be useful, but it's only for opening up certain areas, so you get plenty of those. Bewitching Branch, 5 Sacred Branches, they I can't remember what they do actually. I think they stop you losing your runes straight away. Boiled Prawn, just physical damage negation, not really bothered. This one is weird. Attracts enemies aggression. There's plenty of that already, so I wouldn't go with that. In my opinion, go with that Crimson Amber Medallions. We'll pick that. You are then free to choose a base template or detailed appearance. If you choose base, you can see all these presets here. So you can go with one of these, and it gives you an idea of different styles that you could go with. So if you go with that one, the default warrior, you can go into detailed appearance, change the voice preset, the skin color. You can go in and change face and hair, the body, etc. You can even save this if you're going to do multiple builds. One of the things with Elden Ring is you are free to come in and out of various different builds in the game, as long as each character has their own dedicated name. So you give them a name, in this case GM, and that will make it fairly unique. And it's based on that and the type of character base you picked. So I've got several different ones called all the same name, but we will finish with this. Oh, we're going to go with that. Yes. So what I won't spoil with here is the starting waffle. I think you can skip it with the the screens button. There you go, the skip button just down below. So I'll skip all of that, and we come in this starting area here. And when you come up to things that are able to be pillaged, you'll get a button. So you can see there, pillage remains Y. So we've got a wizened finger, which is more than useless to begin with. You're not going to be using that. So when you come up to a door, again, hover near it, you'll see Y, tells you what's going on. And I will walk you through this start bit because it is a little bit confusing. I'm using the left stick to run, the right stick to move around. I'm using A to jump, B to roll. But remember, we looked at those controls at the start. So if you're stuck, you can always hit the pause button, go down to system there, and then you could go over here to see those button settings again. So that's an option. Now this first bit, it's not a lot to see here. This is just setting the basics of the game. And indeed, if we looked at the storyline, that would have told you a bit about it as well. But we run forwards, and you're going to see a big old beast here. So this beginner's guide, I don't want to spoil much for you, but I do need to walk you through a little bit of the game. Not that this spoils much, because all that happens is the dude smashes us to pieces, because we are an Elden Ring weed. So we don't start with much at all. So I'm going to skip this next bit. Again, I don't want to spoil the story for you. The story of Elden Ring is a bit bizarre, to say the least. You have to read quite deep into it as to what's going on, but you can do. You then get your Flask of Crimson Tears and your Flask of Cerulean Tears, and this is what's used for those bars. You see the top that would just float in there. They heal, and you can see down the bottom there, I can flick between them by pressing down on my D-pad between the red one and the blue one, and they will heal my red bar, which is health, or my blue bar, which is my FP, which is for magic, or your special skills of your weapons. There's a little message here. Whenever you see a message, it'll tell you some stuff. And if we're in offline mode, we should just see messages from the game as opposed to from other players. So you can flick to that online setting if you wish, but you have to come out of the game to do that. So I'm not going to go down here, but the Cave of Knowledge teaches you all of the basics about moving around in the game. And I will walk you through some settings outside of this area, so I'm not teaching you to suck too many eggs. So what I suggest you do is go down in there, go through the area, follow all through it, and then we will continue with this outside here. Once you've done it, you come back to this area, you run up here to the Joys of Limgrave. But I don't want to cover stuff that the game, does a reasonable job at helping you with in this beginner's guide. So you've gone through the Cave of Knowledge, you come up here, and you come out into this area. Now these are key, these are sites of grace, and when you go to one, if you touch it, you'll be able to fast travel to that location in the future. So any sites of grace you get to, you want to be touching at least. You can also rest at them, and when you rest at them, you have other different things you can do, like I can memorize spells, I can use flasks, or adjust my flask, I can pass time. I can also leave, which is what I'm going to do here. So things that are able to be collected tend to glow. So this, pillaged remains. So this is another thing here, and it'll tell you about it typically when you find the first thing. And one of the things you can do with Elden Ring, there is a multiplayer option where you can have ask people to help you with things, and you can do online battles and stuff. But in my opinion, the most fun thing in Elden Ring is to explore and basically have a bit of fun doing it in the single player mode. I do like it very much in single player mode. So we're going to run out of here into your first area, which is Limgrave, which is a beautiful area, as you can see here. And part of the problem and part of the joy of Elden Ring is difficult to know where to go next. And there are some vague clues, like this very vague line that you see shooting off there. You see those sparkles? And what you can do, and I don't want to talk to him much, but is if you go up to Vare, which is this dude here, you see we get a bit of a hint about the map and how that works and blah, blah, blah. But Vare here will tell you a bit about what's going on. And one of the things that's easy to miss is he tells you a little bit.
Yes. Tarnished, are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the Round Table Hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity.
Now, unusual with a game like this is there is further information that is important here. So with all characters in the game, it is key that you just keep talking to them until you exhaust their dialogue. Otherwise, you will often miss key information. And that is the case with Vare. I'm not going to bore you. I don't want to spoil the storyline. But talk to Vare several times, and Vare will tell you about going off to that castle there and what this big golden line is that we're seeing here, which is basically telling you where you need to go in the game. So we've got that one. I think we touched that one already, but it's suggesting now, if we look at the map with the screens button on the Xbox, that we get this vague look as to where to go. So that line is saying, look, the storyline kind of goes that away. Still very vague, and Elden Ring is very vague. And one of the key things I want to impress on you is often you will have to search online for solutions to things. So if you are stuck, have a little look, or even comment on my channel. I will try and help you out. Another point about Elden Ring for beginners is you will occasionally come across very high level enemies, such as that dude there. That dude will smash you to pieces. They are much higher level than your puny level 7 or whatever we are when we come into this area, so you want to avoid them. But I'm still following the line of that glowing thing because it was saying run roughly this way. Now you can see on the map it's very vague as to what to do, but I can see very vague things here. That path has given me some clue, and that's part of Elden Ring's charm, that it's a game about exploration and discovering different things, such as this Church of Ellen that we've just found here. And this is a merchant where you can start buying stuff from. So this is Carly.
I can see it, and I can also see that you're not after my throat. Then why not purchase a little something? I am Carly, purveyor of fine goods.
And then there you can buy, you can find out about Carla, you can get recommendations. But these are various different things. Again, we get slight help with what it is, but it only tells you a little bit of stuff and expands crafting repertoire. And you're like, what the heck is that? I've got different videos about crafting and all sorts of things about merchants and things that I can help you with on my channel. So a lot of the stuff in Elden Ring is not really explained that well. So I'm not going to talk about that bit there. You can strengthen armaments at a smithing table, so you'll get hints to certain things in the game. So we can pick up a smithing stone here, and if I find another one, which I don't think I've got enough here, so you can strengthen the armaments, but I need to find another smithing stone 1 before I can do that. Again, I talk about upgrading weapons and stuff later on in the game. But I do want to run you through to get your first map and just help you a little bit about where you're supposed to go. So you can see I can travel to these sites of grace. We've got all of that stuff. And we just run forwards. Now, the Cave of Knowledge would have taught you the basics of combat. So although I didn't show that at all, you've got RB is your light attack. You've got RT is your heavy attack. You've got LB is use your magic or whatever's in your left arm. And LT will use a skill on your blade. So my one is not very exciting. It's just stand off like that. I think I can go forward like that with it. So that's the idea with it. So that was LT and RB that I did there. You've also got right stick button. If you press the top of that, your target on. I've got different sorceries, incantations it's telling me about. So I've got a couple here. But you start off with some really bad spells. So don't worry about your magic straight away. One cool thing you can do initially is sneak. So you can press the left stick button. And this does tell you in the Cave of Knowledge that I was telling you about. But you can sneak through, your footsteps are quiet, and that can be quite good for exploring an area, particularly when you're weak to begin with and you're wondering where to go. So we can do this. There's a guy up there, and if you want to take someone out with a lot of damage, you can just sneak behind them and then use the RB or light attack button, target onto them with the right stick button, go up behind them, give them a good stab in the back like that, and you do massive damage. So backstab works really well. Now, the reason why I'm running towards here, if we look on the map, that's following that path. And down here, we've got the kind of first little area that's good to learn combat in. So there's various ways in here. You've got a dude there. And what I'm going to do is scoot around the top of this to another site of grace. So if you go well clear of the camp, one of the things to get into learning about an Elden Ring is everything respawns every time you rest, which is annoying and good in the same way. It's annoying because if you've cleared out an area, you rest because you're low on the health, you have to go and clear them all out again. But it's good because you can farm enemies. And by farm, what I mean is we will get runes every time we defeat an enemy. So my runes are shown down the bottom right-hand side. And if we go behind this dude here, give him a good old stab, we get some runes. You see, we get 64 runes for that. Now, as we're in this area, there's loads of different enemies, and one of the fun things with Elden Ring is learning how to move around and how to clear out areas and find out what's in that area. And there are hundreds of different items to collect in Elden Ring. And you can battle in different ways and use different weapons, collect different things. We've got ourselves a new shield there. We could also cycle between shield with LB, so I've pressed left on the D-pad there to put my shield up, and now I've got a bit of protection as I go forwards to fight other people. But you want to be thinking about how you can carefully go into an area without getting seen. So I'm tiptoeing again past that guard, but if I stab this one, that other guard might see. We'll have a go. We were good. And then we'll go to this guard over here. So you just want to be getting used to that style of exploring, like so. Beautiful. And there's a smithing stone 1, so we could now upgrade this weapon, which I will do in a minute. Part of the reason I wanted to come to this area, though, is to show you another key mechanic, which is to find map fragments, and that's the first one. And then our map will actually make more sense. So I'm just looking where that other knight is. They're going the other way. This dude, if he saw us, he would blow that big trumpet and loads of people would come at us. So we'll just take him out carefully and make sure that the knight is not too close to us, because the knight's the most dangerous one in this area. But this is a map fragment. That's the map for Limgrave West. And if you want to know where other map fragments are, have a little look at my channel. But if we go up here, and you can scoot around this area, you can see there is a knight there. So this time I will just use the shield and show you this. So we can block like that. If you look up the top, green bar is going down with the block and also swinging my sword to attack. So once that's depleted, you'll get very tired and won't be able to fight so effectively. But you can see there we took it, and there's the green bar going down again. We were fine there. But this guy's going to be more dangerous because he's got a big shield here. And what we could use is a dodge mechanic now. So dodge is B, and I can just dodge out the way there, move in, have a go at a smack there like that. And if we just go past like that, what I'm trying to do is just sort of roll past the shield and just take them out that way. Interestingly, with that dodge roll is that you can roll through certain attacks, so you want to be practicing that. And in this camp you will find various things for exploring, such as this here, where we have got a flail, which is quite nice. And then you can go pause equipment, and this tells you a bit about your equipment menu. But I could try that flail out if I had the right attributes for it. But you can see it needs dexterity of 18 to be able to use it. If you look behind me, my dexterity that we started with was only 12, so that's not really enough. So a couple of other key things here that I want to talk about just before we finish up. There's a bit of information about where to find certain things up here. But if you go to this site of grace over here, and again, this is easy to miss, but if we go here, and then rest, we will get access to talking to someone who is very important. I'm going to skip it and just go to the answer at the end, so you can see.
Have you heard of the
there she is,
maidens?
and I can't skip this bit.
They serve the two fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless.
Yes.
I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree.
Accept that.
Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. I bequeath to you this ring.
And this is key.
Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect.
So once you've got that, you've got the ability to ride around on a mount, which is much faster. We can now level up.
Shall I turn your runes to strength? Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment, share them with me.
It tells us a bit about
Your
it.
thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow.
But I've not quite got enough runes. So you see it says on the left, runes needed 829. So I need to back out of there, and I will show you level up in just a sec when I've earned enough runes. Spectral Steed, though, you can see we've got the whistle to use the Spectral Seed, which I'll do in just a minute. It also tells us about pouches that we can learn about, and I'll show that in a separate video. But I'm just going to rest here. And another thing we can do is pass time until noon the next day, just so it's a little easier to see where we are. So we'll do that. And if we just go and just farm slightly more. So if I hold down Y, that accesses my pouch, and then I press up to return to the site of grace. So that's an option. But what I can also do is if I hit the pause button, I can set something on the pouch there. So if I press down on my D-pad, if I go to the one that says down on my D-pad there, and then down the bottom choose switch, which is Y, I'll pop the Spectral Steed whistle in there. And then on my left and right, I like to have these as, so I'll switch again, the red and blue cerulean, the cerulean tears, which is blue, and then the red ones, which are the crimson tears, and they are a way of healing. So I'll just show you that real quick, and just explain that for you. We'll just go and earn a few runes. I just want to level up. I want to get a weapon upgraded for you. Just show you that quickly. And also show you how to get your spirit ashes, and that will do. You can also two-hand if you prefer. So you hit Y and light attack. And you will do more damage. But you can see there I'm in a bit of trouble. So I'm rolling away. And now if I hold Y with my pouch. Whoops. Oh, that was close. Y to access my pouch. I can press left on the D-pad to heal up. And you can see they're all coming at me again here. So we'll go back to this mode. You can see there. So we've just about got enough runes, but I do just want to get a bit more for leveling up. Sorry, upgrading the sword as well. There's a big knight there who is rather tough, and want to go and get something for that. So we're going to hit Y, use that spectral steed's whistle by hitting down on the D-pad, and now I can double jump and I can ride much faster here by using B to go off, and you can see we can cover this area much quicker than we did before. You ride in and ride out to places, get some stuff there. And also, if you hit the map button, the screens button, you can see I've now got a map. But as long as I'm in an area where there's no enemies, I can fast travel. This guy's just running at me. Oops, hang on. So we can target in and out with Torrent and attack from a mount here. But now that's clear, I can fast travel by going over here with my left stick, A to travel, and off to the Church of Ella we go. So now we've got a little bit of money.
May I have a word?
Talk to Rani.
To meet the
Or
tarnished.
she'll call herself something different.
I'd heard tell of a tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk I surmise is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent.
So we say we can.
As I had hoped, I was entrusted this for thee by Torrent's former master.
Very useful.
'Tis a bell for calling forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly, as they recall battles past. Now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest.
So a bit more info about those. I'm going to show you those as well before we finish up. We can talk more to her, but I'm not going to here because I'd like you to talk to her, but talk to everyone. Let's just rest here. And then we will go past time till noon. So I want to level up. I want to add a weapon. I want to show you Spirit Calling Bells and just how you then progress, because that's always useful. So, sorry, we rest at the Site of Grace. Now we've got enough runes, we can level up. So we'll go there. Runes needed 829. I've got 1134. And now what I can do is pick any of these that I want to level up. So I move down with the down and up on the D-pad, move across to Vigor and go confirm and say yes. That's all good. So the next level up, I would need about 850 runes. It did just say there. And if we have a little look at this, use the smithing table, strength and armament, I can level up my sword or my finger seal with the smithing stones. So it says I need 2 of them, and in brackets it shows what I've got. I've got 4 of them, so I can level up this one and this one, but I haven't got enough money to do both at the minute. So I will just level up my sword. So we'll go there, and then that one we can level up when we've got enough runes, but it'll turn red when I can't do it. So now let's just quickly go back to Gatefront Ruins, and I want to show a couple of things to you just before we finish up with this beginner's guide. And if you need more help, there's loads more stuff on my channel. But as we go forwards now, what we've got, if we go to equipment, so pause, go equipment, in the hot slots here I can select stuff. So I've hit A to select. I'm going to pop the Lone Wolf Ashes in there, and when you run forward to an area where you can cast these, on the left hand side it will show that you can cast it. You see that little sign? That means you can use your Spirit Ashes. So now if I press down until they're active on the bottom bar, press the X button, the Lone Wolves come forwards, and these really do help with battling. So we've got a knight here that will try and get to come forwards here. Along comes them, And now the walls will help distract the knight, so I can get in and get the knight from the back as we go here. Really hammer the heck out of him. So that was close. So the walls are really handy if your health is low. You come back out, we heal, and then we can just finish that knight off now. And an important point which I'll talk about in a separate video is different enemies will have more or less protection against certain things, be that they were better protected against magic or physical attacks or pointy weapons or hammers. You know, you'll find different weapons will work better against certain enemies. So we've got a new piece of armor there. We could change our armor if we wished. So I could go here, change to the Godric Knight helm and look like that if I wanted a very skinny, strange head. But you are free to adjust stuff as you discover new things. But the last thing I want to talk about is when you're going through and exploring. So from here, this whole area, this is Limgrave, and most of this is good for up to about level 20. But you can see our Site of Grace was saying, okay, you've got here, your next route is up here. But what caught me out hugely in the game to begin with was that I thought you had to battle everything and kill everything. But you don't. You can just ride past anything that you're struggling with until you get to the next Site of Grace. So you can see here, there's a massive troll that jumps down there and all these soldiers here that come and attack us. But what we can do is just ignore the lot, double jump over and keep going like this until we get to the next area. So that works really, really well sometimes because by the time you've cleared out half of them, you're probably too tired to go and get the other half. So go through like this. If you see trees like this, you can grab those, and I do need to cover one last thing thinking about it, which is flasks. So where we saw those flasks that we have, if you find golden seeds like that, you can go to Sites of Grace like this. So now we can fast travel here in the future. And if we rest here, we can change the flasks. So anything which is glowing means we can find out some information. So we could talk to Melina, who would tell us a bit more stuff. But if we click this, I can add a charge to my flask, use one golden seed, and then we can allocate the charges. So if I want, I can have 4 of the red ones, which heal me, or more of the blue ones, which would increase that blue bar or replenish the blue bar, which is really important for magic users. So I just use left and right to split between them. So I'll say OK. And then as we move away from here, you'll see that if we look at those, I've now got 3 and 2 as those charges. So from here, it gives you another hint where you're going. You're going to go up through here and into the castle. But if you go in here already, you're going to get slapped because you're not high enough level. So what Elden Ring doesn't do very well is tell you what level you should be for an area. There's no indicators for it. But you want to be staying and exploring this area while you're fairly low level. You can explore over here to get more map fragments. Once you've done that area, you can go south, and there's lots of cool stuff in here to explore and more map fragments to find, and then come back to this area and start exploring up this area for more stuff. If you get stuck, have a little look around on my channel. I'm going to try and cover as much of it as I can possibly do. Another thing that's important about Elden Ring is there are several endings. There's loads of different quests. Some quests may lock off other quests. So it's a game you can play through several times. It's most enjoyable. There's a lot of fun to be had. But if you get stuck on anything, let me know with what. And loads of mechanics to learn, loads of things to do. Hopefully that helped you out. If it did, give us a thumbs up, please. Much appreciated. Any comments welcome. I'm playing the game again in 2025. Be aware that if you look at lots of solutions on YouTube, they were made a couple of years ago, and some things have changed and may have broken. But the idea of me replaying these things and doing these new videos is to make sure everything works in the current build of Elden Ring. I hope it was useful. Please subscribe if it was. Cheers.